Good morning. How's everyone today? I just want to thank you for being here. I am Dr. T. Matthews, and I will be your facilitator today. I will be facilitating conversations today with Ms. Latoya Logan, as well as Ms. Willetta McGowan. We're going to go through several questions, and please feel free to be open and honest with your questions and answers, and we'll be sure to discuss them in great detail. So my first question for you, the topic of this discussion is, what kind of discrimination have you faced and how did you overcome it? So my first question to you is, introduce yourself and how do you celebrate diversity or Black history in your home? And what affirmations do you use? And we'll start with Willetta.
Yes, my name is Willetta McGowan, and I am an LPC. I celebrate diversity in my home by using a legacy to my granddaughter and to my daughter and just to my family, period, by informing them of our Black history, of things that they may not be aware of that we've done. And the affirmations I use is that we are more than a conqueror through Christ Jesus. I am a firm believer in that you can do anything that you set your mind to.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Latoya?
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. My name is Latoya Logan. I am the CEO and founder of Project Lift Services and a clinical social worker here in Cleveland. And most of my work is around cultural inclusivity in the services we provide to clients. How I celebrate Black history is probably not with an intentionality. It's just about living. I think that so much of Black history gets lost in the suffering, that we need to spend more time in acknowledging the successes, the resiliency. So I do that through self-care, through self-love practices, by making sure that for me, for my affirmation is I don't have to be perfect, I just need to be present. So as long as I'm present and I'm living in what is my truth, that's a celebration of Black history.
Thank you. I would just like to add, one of the things that I do for Black history is I say to myself, I am Black history. In many situations, I have broken barriers, and my grandparents, my grandmother, my grandfathers have done things that have actually paved the way for me. So on a constant basis, I live in that spirit, as in they have done this for me, and therefore I must be Black history. I definitely appreciate that. Question number 2, what kind of discrimination have you faced and how did you overcome it? We'll start with Latoya.
Well, I think whenever we ask this question of a person who belongs to a marginalized group, I think that experiencing discrimination is unfortunately a part of our life story. Simply being named Latoya is met with discrimination and assumptions about my intellect, competence, and ability. I can recall a moment when I attended Michigan State University as an English education major, and a professor who had never met me before. I was one of 150 students in his class, so he couldn't pick me out if he wanted to. I'd submitted a paper and he emailed me and said, "This doesn't sound like you. It's so intelligent. It's so professional." And of course I reported him and said, "You've never met me. You have no idea what I sound like." So I think it isn't that we have to do anything. It can just be that we exist, that we are in spaces, and those spaces come with discrimination. So I would say that overcoming discrimination begins with excavating your own internalized discrimination as a result of negative exposure or experiences, and the pervasive nature of systemic oppression, which can make you feel less than because your name is Latoya or is more culturally reflective, or your skin tone, or just the way in which you carry yourself and others may not think is professional. So I think engaging in self-discovery is a process, but it's vital to building a healthy identity that will help you not only manage your own feelings and experiences, but help you to set boundaries around how others engage and interact with you.
And just a quick follow-up. So the boundaries are things that you utilize to actually help you overcome or to simply live with that discrimination?
Again, I'm not exactly sure that I believe you can overcome discrimination in and of yourself, because you are not the person implementing the discriminatory practices. You are a person who every single day is met with that. So if you can build a healthy identity and set boundaries around how you expect others to engage with you, what you will or will not tolerate, and also checking your own triggers for when you are projecting some of that internalized discrimination, is how you can exist in this world, but also thrive in this world without being a victim of that oppression.
Thank you so much for the clarification. Ms. Willetta?
Well, just jumping off of the point of what Ms. LaToya was saying, you can't overcome it. It's a part of your daily life. I remember an experience at the doctor's office, the doctor not wanting to explain what was going on because he didn't think I would understand. He just was going to tell me what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And I had to stop him in his tracks. No, hold up. No, you're going to explain this to me. I'm going to let you know what it is I'm going to accept and what it is I'm not. It is definitely a part of our daily lives. And we do have to do self-love. We do have to realize that it is a process. And we are loved. There has never been any accountability for discrimination, and it continues to be done. So you can't overcome it. It is something that you live with. It's a trauma that is constantly in your daily life. It's in your thought process. How am I going to go outside? How am I going to interact in the community? Being a professional, knowing how to speak, knowing people saying, you don't sound this way. I went through a period where I didn't want to use my first name for my counseling business. I wanted to just be known as W. McGowan because I felt that Willetta was too Black, because they look at that name and instantly form an opinion. And so I think just constantly being in that headspace where your thought process always has to be, how you're going to act, how you're going to be, what's coming towards you. It's just really not something you can get over, but you learn to live and you learn to thrive within, you learn to fall and get up again.
Wow, that's powerful, both of you. I totally agree. One of the things I would say that in my life, finding psychological safe spaces is so important to me. A lot of times, unfortunately for us, we're not going to find them outside of the house because all of the things that you have actually said. You think about it constantly, your interactions with supervisors, your interactions with coworkers. It's just one of those things that even if you're not experiencing at that moment, you may experience at a later moment. So you're always, I don't want to say on guard, but aware of your circumstances and the awareness of how you feel when you're in those instances. And so I agree with both of you about overcoming. I don't think it's a situation where I wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to overcome discrimination. It's more of today, I'm going to be solid in who I am, show up as T. Matthews, and represent everything that I represent, either you like it or not. Sometimes that's painful because you may be sitting in the back of a meeting or not being heard, but at the same time, I have to bring some type of respect back home with myself. And so I really appreciate those answers. Those were amazing.
I just would like to jump off of the point what you just said about, knowing how to get through. And also, one of the things that I have put in my spirit to do is to always do a self-check and also let others know what type of experiences we have had. Sometimes people don't realize what we've been through, other cultures, and I engage in them to get their feedback. And I let them know some of our truth that they are not aware of, to give them something to think about. And what I found is that they appreciate that. Some appreciate it, I'll put it that way, and some don't, but most appreciate it, and most, even if they don't agree with it, it gives them something to think about and to ponder their thoughts about, because I really believe that we need to have some kind of accountability, and because it's all around us, it never stops. And we go through phases of where it's worse, and then it gets better, and then it gets worse again. And I think we're in that phase now where we're experiencing some of the worst.
Absolutely. And I think you actually hit a little bit on my third question, which is, how do you use what you've experienced, overcome, to help others break the cycle? And either one of you can start.
I'll go again. Like I said, I just believe in engaging in the conversation, not acting like it doesn't exist. And I've just found that just is more powerful than anything. Is just really being engaged and getting their feedback, and letting them know, look, no, that is not true. All Black people do not steal. All Black people, you don't have the angry Black woman as sometimes we are titled, and yes, we do get angry just like anyone else, but it's because of some of the things that we experience. And then always being in that thought process, how am I going to approach this situation and be able to get what I need out of it versus not getting what I need.
Thank you. Latoya?
Right. As I said, I think, breaking the cycle is not something that an individual can do, because we're not the one implementing the practices that are resulting in funding or resource or treatment disparities. I think part of what I try to do is invest where traditionally clients would not receive services. So when I founded Project Lifts, I did so to fill a gap in access, inclusion, and resources for Black males with complex traumas and life experiences that are often either overlooked, dismissed, or penalized through the criminal justice system. I think representation matters. So when clients enter my office, they clearly see themselves represented in the artwork, in the music, and how we're interacting and engaging with them. And while I think representation matters, I also know that it isn't all that matters. So I choose to, understand and greet my clients with the knowledge that culture isn't monolithic. So my experience as a Black woman with Black culture may not be your experience. So to be effective, I choose to be an objective and compassionate investigator. I want them to tell me what's most important to help create a safe environment for them, to help them express themselves freely and without judgment. Every single one of my clients who are Black males, ages 14 and older, we start with, we need you. We need you healthy, we need you joyful, we need you honestly expressing yourself, and we need you engaged. And in order for you to do those things for us, so we can effectively engage with you, we have to be humble, we have to be inquisitive, and we have to know you are the expert. So for me, it's about this exchange, this reciprocal exchange of what is your experience? Wow, here's my experience. Let me tell you what I worked or how I worked through this over here, which may not work for you, but maybe it offers you some insight or options.
We have to be authentic in our space. Mm-hmm. And when you come to someone and you are authentic and you always share a piece of me, mm-hmm. and whatever piece that I feel that they'll be able to identify with. And when I share that piece, it gives them the peace and the feeling safe enough to open up. And Absolutely. That's where I can find out, get some insight into what's going on with them. What has happened to them, what has hurt them.
Absolutely.
We must do that. Meet people where they are.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things about breaking a cycle, and it's really hard to break a cycle or a system you didn't create. And so understanding the space in which you live in and being positive and supporting African-American males and females and people in general. There's a lot of people that need a lot of support. Understand that we are not all the negatives. When you look at what you see on television or on a video game, and knowing that we are all human. We're just Black and brown human. And we love just like everyone else, and we would love to be loved just like everyone else and respected. I want to thank you, ladies, so much for your time. It has been truly a pleasure to sit with two beautiful African-American women, very smart and intelligent. And it was a pleasure to meet both of you. And I know this conversation could have went on much longer, but I want to thank you so much for your time on this Friday morning.
Thank you as well.
And I would like to invite the participants to join us next month for our next episode, February 25th, when we will be discussing violence in our communities. Thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend.